talking about data. We're talking about data at the edge. Now, not just any data at the edge. Right? Data at the edge could just be my shoes letting up. That's not important. That's not important data. It's fun data, but it's not important. Because now I work for Veritas, and now I have a red shoe. Now, the data that matters is the data that drives your business. So let's talk about a few of those pieces of data. Until about 10 years ago, all power generation was centralized. So here around the city, there were a couple of generating stations only. All the data generated that you use to run the business was all done close to the core of your company. Because we know that's changed. Now we have solar farms, and they're everywhere. In my hometown, we have solar panels on every streetlight. It runs the streetlight. It keeps power to the streetlight. Power generation close to the consumer. Of course, wind farms everywhere. The problem with that is in order to transmit and control that power, you need data and analytics in real time. The distribution network is very difficult to manage when you have varying loads on power generation. And we all know the sun doesn't always shine, and the wind doesn't always blow. That means power companies must create and analyze and use that data right where it's being created. Shopping malls. Their own cities shopping malls. Right? One of the biggest ones in the country is right behind us here, the hotel. Imagine all the retail. The power and cooling, managing all the employees, the food service, the just-in-time delivery of all of the goods that we all like to purchase when we go to the mall. That takes data generated at the mall, analyzed and used at the mall. Very shortly, we're going to see ads that are targeted in real time because the data for those ads are generated and then used right then and there. Within 10 years, more data will be consumed and generated and analyzed outside of our data centers than they are inside of our data centers. Our own beautiful hotel, with all the food service. Somebody has to count chairs and keep track of chair inventory and how much coffee is being consumed. They need to know how much coffee you just drank so they can order new coffee for the next breakout session or for tomorrow. That's data generated here and used here. I found this. This is a cruise ship here in Korea. It's not a real cruise ship, but it's its own center of data generation and data consumption. So it's not about the edge of my sneakers that matters. It's about data at the edge that's business critical value. So we don't know already, here's our appliance roadmap. We all know we have virtual appliances for very, very small people who want to have virtual infrastructure only. The 5240 for massive media, 5340, high performance, great density, big scale. We have that flex appliance, the 5340, that flex version. And we'll spend quite a bit of time talking about why that flex version. And you heard earlier about scaling and storing your data. That's the Access appliance, the 3330. All of them integrated with NetBackup. And then new, just announced 2 weeks ago, you're only the second audience on my tour to actually get to see the 5150. And if you haven't seen it, it's sitting out in the lobby. So why should you consider the Flex appliance versus other appliances? When I said earlier, I don't want my tools to get in the way, well, and we also have a lot of change, deployment. With the Flex system, we containerized net backup. We separated net backup software, the bits that make net backup what it does, the catalog and the configuration files in a separate place. This allows some very interesting things as an administrator, as a user of net backup. It allows you to deploy in the time I've been talking in this session. Deploy a brand new master media server, 5 minutes. It allows you to test, because the Flex platform allows multiple simultaneous versions of net backup. So you can try the next version. You can maintain old versions in your environment without changing out the hardware and the ecosystem that is the net backup appliances. To me, that's value. That means I can try the latest and greatest and make my life easier and do it in a way that is safe and that is easy. And I don't disrupt my production when I do it. It also allows separation. So in the financial services arena, you have banking and you have investments. Sometimes they're not allowed to touch. Now you want to share the infrastructure, but the domains cannot mingle data for regulatory purposes. Same thing in power companies. You have distribution and generation. They're not allowed to share infrastructure. They're operated by different folks in the company. Again, the ability to share the same hardware and infrastructure platform would have multiple domains. With the 5340, right, that's the scale-out appliance. It allows very large DB pools. Allows you to start with one shelf and keep growing. So just-in-time buying of hardware. Right, we know that's important with our companies. We don't want to spend money and not get value right away. So you can start with the smallest version of the 5340 and make investments when you need them, not ahead of time and waste that investment. Multi-tenancy. There are many service providers here in the room. A lot of partners who provide service to many customers at the same time. So the Flex system allows to have multi-tenant domains on the same hardware. Makes it easy to adopt a new customer. This way you don't have to keep buying new infrastructure every time you want to pull in a new customer. For me, as a former operations manager, this is my favorite thing. Upgrades. I'm sure nobody in this room likes to spend their weekends doing upgrades. With the Flex appliance, since it's a container, we can upgrade in minutes. You can back it out in minutes. Because we separated the data from the software, it's as fast as a few mouse clicks, and you now have an upgraded master or media server. Of course, today, with the brand new appliance, remote offices. Having data secured, protected in those remote offices where you do have mission-critical data. We allow you to do two things. You can either have a master media server and then put that through optimized DB back in your centralized data center. And in the near future, we're going to qualify a Cloud Catalyst as one of the applications that will sit on the 5150. So if that data doesn't need to come back home to the data center, it can go straight to the public cloud. So it's protected, but it's no longer taking up space in your infrastructure. So, technical details, things you need to know when considering the new 5150. It's a very different kind of appliance because of the use case. Remember, edge, remote office. If you haven't seen it, there's a version sitting out in the lobby, so after the event, take a look, see what it looks like. It is 1U. It is meant to be shipped, racked, and stacked in just a few minutes. Right? No expansion shelves. Very little to configure, very few options. It sits in 1U in your rack with choice of rack options that you're used to. One processor, 64 gig of RAM. Most important, about 14 terabytes of usable space for your DVD pool. All right, and that's 4 drives, striped mirror, so you have your data protected. Comes with 4 gig ports for communications and management, internal management, not data flow, but management. And there is only one configuration option. So unlike the other appliances that have a matrix, a table of options from expandability and port types, there's only one option to choose from. So what do we have? We have 2 solid state drives. Right, that's where the operating system sits. That's where net backup lives, the system bits themselves. Then you have 4 drives. That's where your catalog sits. Now on the back panel, 2 power supplies, just like you'd hope for, right, for redundancy. VGA ports, USB, but the thing, look at number 7. Right up there. That's the configuration item for this device. So option A, this is here for a bare server. This is the minimal server you can purchase for the 5150. This is no extra slots. Maybe you have your own, maybe you're replacing a unit. Mostly we expect this is when you're going to buy, when we're going to ship you a replacement unit. The second one, having 4 1 gig ports. There's still plenty of folks who have 1 gig in their infrastructure. That's where your data movement, that's where your policies are going to be in and out on net backup to the appliance. Secondly, the third option is 2 10 gig ports. We expect this to be a pretty standard option for most folks. 10 gig being the common infrastructure for your management and data movement. And then last, for the highest speed network, 2 25 gigabit fiber connections. So folks with the latest infrastructure who need the most bandwidth to the edge, need to move data the fastest, that's the option for you. Okay, this is meant to be very easy to service. Right? This is not sitting in your data center. This is not something where you have a whole lot of people present. Somebody would send one service person out, there's somebody locally, can rack it, can stack it, but also do the very simple maintenance items that you want. For most of my customers, it's really going to be switching out a hard drive. That's the most common thing I expect folks to happen. So the hard drives, both for data and the operating system, are replaceable by the customer. So we can ship you the part, and you can take care of it, so you don't have to wait for anybody to take care of that for you. And then the power module.